In the quiet of Brentwood, the unthinkable happened. Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were discovered in their home, a place long regarded as a sanctuary from Hollywood's relentless glare. Police found no signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no immediate evidence of an intruder's hurried presence. It was a crime confined within the walls of a family home. Both sustained fatal stab wounds, forcing investigators to look inward rather than outward for answers. The LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division soon took over, classifying the case as an apparent homicide, though no theory or suspect had yet emerged. The silence of the Reiner family. The Rainers responded to tragedy with quiet dignity. Their brief statement expressed profound sorrow and requested privacy, leaving the world with no further details. For a man like Rob Reiner, who had spent a lifetime making films and engaging publicly, this silence was unusual. At 78, Reiner had already secured his place in Hollywood, his films long ingrained in collective cultural memory. Classics like Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, and A Few Good Men were not remembered for awards or box office, but for the emotions and memories they evoked in audiences everywhere. A nation remembers the news of Reiner's death rippled across the country in subdued shock. Tributes poured in, reflecting the weight of a life well lived. Barack Obama highlighted Reiner's unique ability to tell deeply human stories that helped Americans understand themselves. Political figures like Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi praised him for his forthrightness and civic responsibility, noting that his art and public voice were inseparable. Within Hollywood, the grief was quieter, but heartfelt. Actors like Aaron Sorkin and Billy Crystal recalled his mentorship and presence on set, emphasizing the safety and trust he created for performers and the subtle artistry behind his direction. The human side of a storyteller, Meg Ryan captured Reiner's essence perfectly. He was not a man measured by awards, but by the way he made others feel seen. On set, he demanded authenticity, yet gave enough space for actors to inhabit their roles naturally. Reiner's films often explored family, love, and imperfection, universal themes reflected in his own life. His work resonated because it mirrored lived experience rather than polished idealism. In his final chapter, no explanation accompanied his passing. Yet the stories he left behind were sufficient, revealing a man who, above all else, remained deeply human, committed to capturing the bonds that sustain families even through fragility. Art meets public persona. Later in life, Reiner became known not only as a filmmaker, but as a voice in political discourse. His earlier works, once experienced purely for their emotional resonance, became intertwined with contemporary debates. While Reiner never used his films as political platforms, the public perception of him caused audiences to view them through a new lens. His artistry was no longer received in isolation, but alongside questions and controversies he had never intended to answer. The gap between storyteller and audience widened, not by argument, but by caution, leaving a space where the films remained, yet the creator's voice seemed more distant. Loss of a guiding figure. In 2020, the death of Carl Reiner marked a profound personal loss for Rob. Carl, his father, had been both anchor and shadow, offering guidance, protection, and validation throughout Rob's life. After Carl's funeral, Rob described feeling orphaned despite being in his 70s. The absence of the one who had allowed him to stand secure in his achievements forced him to face a late-life vulnerability unfamiliar to most. The loss highlighted a truth often overlooked. Even the most celebrated figures are shaped and sustained by intimate familial bonds, and the absence of that support leaves a space of profound loneliness. Living between legacy and expectation. Rob Reiner's life was defined by a delicate balance between immense success and personal vulnerability. While his films earned universal acclaim, he often navigated the tension between audience admiration and internal doubt. His stories explored families' complexities because he understood imperfection firsthand. He did not craft characters for superficial, dramatic effect, but to reflect the realities he had experienced. Reiner's genius lay in translating these intimate truths to the screen, allowing viewers to see themselves within his work. Yet this constant negotiation between external recognition and private life created a shadow that always lingered behind his accomplishments. The weight of cultural memory. Reiner's films became more than entertainment. They became part of a shared cultural memory. Audiences connected to his storytelling not because of spectacle, but because of the authenticity embedded in every line, glance, and gesture. He chronicled love and loss, tension and reconciliation in ways that felt lived rather than constructed. While public and professional accolades came, Reiner remained tethered to the delicate rhythms of life, family, mentorship, and intimate relationships. The silence left by his death is heavy because it reflects not just the loss of a filmmaker, but of a presence that had quietly shaped countless moments in the lives of others. Closure without explanation. The final chapter of Reiner's life ended without a complete explanation, a narrative unresolved by reason or clarity. The events in his home and the absence of a perpetrator or motive leave questions that may never be answered. Yet perhaps the tragedy is not in the mystery itself, but in how Reiner lived fully, despite life's uncertainties. His story reminds us that human experience is rarely neat or conclusive. The legacy left behind, films, teachings, relationships, is both evidence of a life well lived and a reminder of the complexity that defines even the most celebrated individuals. Legacy beyond the screen. Rob Reiner's impact extended far beyond cinema. He offered a model for integrity, curiosity, and empathy, reminding audiences and colleagues alike that art is inseparable from life. He valued emotional truth over spectacle and human connection over accolades. Though his later years brought public scrutiny and political debate, his essence remained unchanged. A storyteller committed to honesty and understanding. Reiner's films and life endure as a testament to the power of narrative, the fragility of family, and the quiet yet profound ways one life can touch innumerable others. Conclusion. A life fully lived. Rob Reiner leaves behind more than cinematic accomplishments. He leaves a deeply human story of love, family, and vulnerability. His life bridged brilliance and shadows, triumph, and quiet introspection. He made films that reflected imperfect realities, and in doing so, helped audiences understand themselves. While questions remain about the circumstances of his death, the enduring truth is the richness of the life he led. Reiner's story is a reminder that legacies are not only built in public triumphs, but in the intimate, often unseen moments of human connection that define a life.